And welcome to this year's Parent-Student Athletic Code meeting/recording. I guess I would start by mentioning that you will want to make sure that you look through the handbook for all of the complete information. I'm really just going to touch on a few highlights, cover a few topics, and encourage you to get into that handbook and make sure that you're aware of all of the different policies and procedures that occur during the school year. All right, so let's start talking a little bit about our philosophy that we have for athletics here at Manitowoc Lutheran. It goes without saying, or should go without saying, that the worship and the faith aspect of our students is and should be at all times at the forefront of what we do. And we, of course, encourage our coaches, parents, teachers, everybody to make sure that they are being a positive influence upon that for our students, definitely guiding them in the right direction as far as their faith life goes. We expect this to be shown in school, of course, but it goes beyond that. We want our athletes, when they're out in society, out in the area, showing that off, also showing their faith as part of their academics, and then, of course, on the playing field or competition, making sure that they're letting their faith shine in all of those places. All of this is about teaching our kids and guiding them to achieve our school's mission as it is listed at the top of the screen. One of the things that we do each year is we incorporate a character program into our athletic programs. This past year it was Leave No Doubt. So if you saw that, you know what that's about. I have not received this year's yet, but it will be something different. It always does change from year to year, so that there's a fresh look at helping our athletes and our students build their character, their Christian character, through our athletics. And then one of the things that are encouraged is our coaches to do some 3D coaching, to learn that there are different dimensions of coaching, not only the physical, but also the mental and emotional part, and thirdly, and as we've talked about, the most important part, the spiritual aspect of that. There's also a parenting video. It's about a half an hour. It's very interesting. You'll see it on our website. I think it's step 6 of this whole athletic process. It's worth taking a look at, maybe sharing as well with others. It's a free video, so you're welcome to do that. Communication is one of the keys to any successful program, both from coaches to players, players to coaches, as well as parents and coaches as well, back and forth. So one of the things we encourage is always making sure we use good judgment. It's not a good idea to try and have an important conversation in the midst of, in the midst of a game, or after a game, or in front of a bunch of other people. Always best to set up a meeting. We prefer that would be held at school, and go ahead and have a conversation. Sometimes those can be difficult. And definitely then, really the first step in any of this is to encourage athletes to have that conversation with their coach first. It's a great opportunity for them to learn that skill, that ability to have conversations, and then helps them also in building their character, and helps create really a good atmosphere between player and coach when you can have tough conversations that really builds that relationship between a player and their coach, which is important for the success of a team and program. If a lot of these things have happened and conversations have been had and there doesn't seem to be any type of resolution, then certainly you want to bring the athletic director in, and we can have a larger meeting and try and get some resolution. As far as the code of conduct goes for the school, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of specifics, a lot of details. Every year some things change, both from the state and also locally at our own school. So you want to do that. Obviously, any type of substance abuse causes infractions and consequences. If students are having issues getting their homework in on time and they start accumulating larger numbers of late homework in a semester, that can cost them some eligibility. Same thing that goes with missing work, whether it's a large amount or it's been missing for a while. Now we are at a 2-week point, so if something gets missed, it still needs to get turned in within 2 weeks, or eligibility can cause problems. Also, if any absence begin to accumulate, and this is not only just for eligibility, but really for losing credit for a course. And when you start failing courses, then you start losing the opportunity to participate in athletics as well. Can play a part. Those are the kind of things that then build up and give detentions. And then if you have detentions, you miss practice. And if you miss practice, that can cost opportunities. One of the new things that will be added to the handbook is there's going to be more regular checks just on regular grades, and making sure that kids' grades are where they need to be. And if any students are having issues with their grades, there could be some intervention, and whether that means missing time or setting up missing time for athletics, or setting up some kind of a plan to help them get their grades up. That could be a new thing to navigate. With all things, we want to make sure kids understand social media and the impact that it can have. I know we say this every year, and it seems like every year we have a handful of reported instances where kids are making some bad choices with their social media. And of course, the list goes on. Make sure you get through that part of the student handbook. It's important to stay aware of that. Probably to reflect back, even with absent, something I should probably mention, you have to be in school to participate in games. I know that should go without saying, but it still needs to be said. And then the same thing, even with practicing, you would have to make sure you're in school for at least the second half of the day in order to be making practices. With all of that kind of stuff, if you have to be missing school for something that's out of your control, not an illness, it is really important to make sure that either the athletic director or the principal are made aware, permission is given to be missing school, so that we know where you're at, and we know not to be withholding you from practice. That should be done ahead of time. If you have an appointment in the morning and then we don't hear about it, and we notify a coach that you can't practice, and then you show up and go, oh, I was at a practice, or I was at an appointment, it may be too late at that point. We want to make sure that everybody's communicating ahead of time. And which brings back this point, and really you'll see this a lot, that communication is really important, and we want to avoid any problems we can if we're staying on top of that communication. As far as the eligibility piece goes, the forms, the things that have to happen, every athlete has to have a physical, and the new date for this year is anything after April 1st of 2021 counts for this school year. So if you had one even in March of 2021, that would no longer count for this coming school year. Then one of the steps on our website will just be to give some consent, and that's for getting treatment from Holy Family Medical, also agreement to some of the policies for the high school. Then there is a WIAA consent form that does have to be printed off and signed. That is also one of the steps on our website. And then pretty typically it's freshmen and juniors that need impact testing. If you're not sure, you can ask, and either Mr. Loberger, can let you know if you need that, or also Mrs. Zerbel, Holly Zerbel in the office, can let you know if you are due for impact testing. And that basically is that test that gives us a baseline for concussions. So if an injury were to potentially occur and we weren't sure if it was a concussion or not, they would be able to take that impact test, and that helps to determine if there's any issue with concussion. So important to get that done before any practicing can occur. And as I mentioned, all of that has to be done. So please help us getting that done. All right, as far as the website goes, you may have probably found this already or you wouldn't be here. But one of the first places you're going to do or go to is our homepage, and then on the left-hand side you can see there that you'll click activities, and underneath there you'll see athletics. And once you get to the athletic page, there is a student athlete section. You click there, and that really walks you through all of the things you need to do. You can follow each of those steps in order. You are probably on step 5 if you are watching this video, but that's okay. There are also some other things on that page that you see right there that would be important, or things that you could do as well. There are 6 steps. You can see them here as well as you're looking through, but essentially these are the things you can do. There could be a step 7, I suppose. That video that I had mentioned earlier is there's also a link after step 6 if you would like to see that. Volunteering is really an important part of Manitowoc Lutheran High School and the success that it has as a school as a whole, as in the athletic department. There's a huge number of volunteers that are needed. It's very important to what we do. I can't encourage you enough to play your part and to jump in and help out. We have had some really great volunteers in the past years. It really helped keep our athletic program going. And as we look through, basically we need help with concession stands. That's a big one. And if you think about how many kids you have and how many sports they are participate in, it's kind of a nice guide to figure out to make it equal for everybody, that their ability to help out and kind of share the load. So so if you were to think of it this way, well, I have a daughter, and she is a softball player, and she also runs cross country. So that's 1 child, 2 different sports. So that puts me at 4 to 6 volunteer nights. And the volunteer nights really only come during the fall and the winter season. We really don't do anything with concessions or ticketing in the spring of the year. So you kind of have to be thinking ahead a little bit. If everybody were to do that, probably it would fill up and you might not get all of yours in. But go ahead and jump on that. We hope to have that up and ready soon and on our website so that you can see your choices for the entire year. So like I said, it's primarily concessions and tickets, and it's really the 3 seasons of football, volleyball, and basketball. So yep, if your kid only plays baseball, it still is expected part of that. We don't charge any athletic fees at this point. We try and cover everything in that way. And really, it's a huge part. These are the things that the Friends of the Lancers run. And Friends of the Lancers is maybe more of an important part of the athletic department than many people realize. They are really our one fundraising booster club for our school. Technically, everybody is a member. As a parent, you are a member of the Booster Club, and so we would love for you to get active, be involved. The meetings occur, there's about 8 or 9 meetings a year. The best meeting of the year is May, where we get to spend all of the money that has been raised over the course of the year. This last year was a great year. I think when it's all said and done, we're going to be well over the $38,000 mark, which is what gets your kids uniforms and helmets and all of the equipment and special things for our athletic programs. And so that's a huge part of it. As far as officials go, boy, this is a really important one, and it's only becoming magnified in the past couple of years. You got to understand they're going to mess up. They can mess up for us. They mess up against us. They're going to mess up, and that's part of being human. And they have to make judgment calls. And it's interesting to hear them speak about how they manage games and they try and do that. It's impressive. It's great that they come out and do these things. The bottom line is, without them, we don't have sports, and it's really getting to be that way. I know a number of athletic contests that were in fact canceled in this past school year because of a lack of officials. And so it's really important that officials want to come to our school. In the end, the reason we're running out is because they don't want to get yelled at. And so they're walking away from being officials. And so we want to have a school where they want to be. They want to be, if we have officials that want to be here, it's going to help create an opportunity for our kids to participate. Also, consider taking it up. Consider being an official. It's easy to get into being an official, and then depending on how good of one you want to be, you can take classes, you can take courses, but getting started is easy. I'd be happy to walk anybody through that process if it's something you have a passion for doing. And it does help make a little money on the side too. But in the end, we just want to make sure that we are treating people as our Lord and Savior would want us to treat them, regardless of the circumstances. This past season, a little sidebar, we had one of those games that went really poorly, and it was a very frustrating night as far as officiating went. And I went back through and counted exactly 32 really bad calls. And in the end, and I say this honestly, 16 of them went in our favor and 16 of them went against us. And it was frustrating, but I don't know that it really had an impact on the outcome of the game. And we got out of it healthy. So sometimes you're going to have those nights. So we still want to treat even people having an off day well, if at all possible. Thank you for helping with that. As always, we will have a trainer on site. I know this last school year was a rough one, trying to replace Chris and finding somebody, but our new trainer, Libby, you can see her picture here. So she will help any of our students or athletes with any kind of injury assessment. She will help them develop a rehab program and help them through that. There is a concussion video that's important for everybody to watch. I believe that's one of the steps as well as you're going through this process. And all of this is one of the wonderful things that gets provided to us right now by Lakeshore Orthopedics, Holy Family, also Freightert. The title is long, and I know I don't have it right now, but we thank them for providing this wonderful service to us free of charge. So if you ever have any questions over the course of the year, please don't hesitate to ask. Always best to go ahead and ask your coach. Oftentimes things that I may not be able to answer, but if I can, I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. Otherwise, blessings on your season, and have a great year, and let's make it count. Thanks for your time.